The screen door slammed behind me like a judge's gavel, sealing off the laughter from inside, the kind of easy, booze-fueled family chatter that had once been my normal. Mom's voice sliced through the humid Indiana summer air. Kevin, we love you, but this isn't us. Go find your own people. Brian, my little brother by 3 years, stood frozen in the driveway, his new fiancée, Sarah, clinging to his arm like a lifeline. He wouldn't meet my eyes, just muttered, "It's not forever, man," before turning back to the house where the grill smoke curled up like accusations. That lie burned hotter than the rejection. It had been forever already. 5 years since I'd come out. And in that moment, wiring the first check for his dream home from my cramped apartment felt like the cruelest joke on myself. I remember the exact second it all cracked open, back in our family's sprawling ranch house on the outskirts of Indianapolis, where the cornfields stretched like judgmental fingers pointing at anyone who didn't fit the mold. It was July 4th, 2018, the air thick with fireworks and hypocrisy. I just turned 28, fresh off a promotion at the marketing firm downtown, nothing flashy, but enough to afford a decent loft in Broad Ripple, the artsy neighborhood where the gays like me could breathe without side-eye. Brian was 25, still crashing on the couch after dropping out of community college, chasing some half-baked dream of flipping houses into family havens. Mom and Dad, God bless their narrow hearts, were deep into their evangelical phase, the one that started after Dad's mill job vanished in the recession and they found Jesus as a bargain bin therapist. I'd planned to tell them over burgers, casual-like, after the potato salad was gone and the kids, my nieces from Dad's side, were chasing sparklers. "Hey, folks, I'm gay. Met someone. His name's Jamie. He's a teacher. Loves the Colts. Simple. American as apple pie, right?" Except when I said it, the fork clattered against Mom's plate like a gunshot. Dad's face went the color of overcooked brisket, veins popping in his neck as he choked out, "This is a phase. Kevin, you're confusing sin with sadness." Brian just stared at his sneakers, scuffed from hauling lumber at his temp gig, and Sarah, whom he'd started dating 3 months prior, whispered something about prayer circles that made my stomach twist. The fallout was biblical. No more Sunday roasts. No Thanksgiving turkey with the good gravy. Birthdays? Cards arrived late, unsigned, with $20 tucked inside like hush money. "We pray for you every night," Mom would text, followed by Bible verses that read like eviction notices. Dad stopped calling altogether, his silence a wall thicker than the one he built around the garden after the divorce from his first wife. Brian tried. At first, late-night drives to White Castle, burgers dripping grease as he mumbled, "They're old school. Kev, give him time." But time stretched into years, and his visits dwindled to awkward coffee runs when he needed advice on his latest scheme. By 2020, with the pandemic locking everyone down, even those fizzled, he got engaged to Sarah that spring, a shotgun wedding vibe minus the shotgun, and I wasn't on the guest list. "Small venue," he texted. Lie. Me? I threw myself into work, climbing the ladder at the firm until I was leading campaigns for local nonprofits, queer youth centers, mostly because if my family wouldn't save me, I'd save the kids coming up behind. Jamie stuck around through it all, that steady Midwestern rock with his wire-rimmed glasses and laugh like a summer storm. We met at a pride rally in 2017, him handing out water bottles in 95-degree heat, me nursing a hangover from too many shots the night before. "You're going to dehydrate before you dehydrate the haters," he joked. And just like that, I was hooked. Our first date was at a dive bar in Fountain Square, splitting wings and debating if the Pacers could ever rebuild. By the time I came out to the family, we'd been together a year, Building a life in stolen moments. Weekend hikes in Brown County, where the leaves turned fire red and we'd pretend the world was just us and the trail. But family? They were a ghost, haunting every milestone. When Brian announced Sarah was pregnant, twins, boy and girl, the full heteronormative jackpot, I sent a congratulatory basket from some overpriced site, organic onesies, a board book about truck for the boy. No reply. Just a Facebook post of the ultrasound, all blue filters and captions about God's perfect plan. I unfollowed, but not before liking it. A digital olive branch that went ignored. That's when the secret started gnawing at me. Brian had always talked big about his dream home, a fixer-upper in Carmel, one of those cookie-cutter colonials with a white picket fence and space for barbecues. The kind of place our parents dreamed of, but never afforded after Dad's gambling debts ate the savings. He was scraping by on real estate side hustles, Sarah working retail, and the twins do any day. I overheard him on a call once, back when we still grabbed beers. Kev, if I could just swing the down payment. It'd change everything. His voice cracked, that rare vulnerability peeking through the bravado. I didn't say anything then, but it stuck, a splinter under my skin. Fast forward to 2022. Jamie and I had just closed on our own place, a cozy bungalow in Irvington, with creaky hardwood and a backyard big enough for a garden. We'd talked marriage, rings glinting in the candlelight over takeout pad thai. But I held back, whispering, not until my brother's okay. Jamie got it, or tried to. His own folks in Ohio were blue state progressives. Rainbow flags on the porch since he was in diapers. Blood's thicker than therapy bills, he'd say, pulling me close on nights when the rejection hit hardest. Then Brian called. Out of the blue, voice shaky over the line. Hey, man, long time. Listen, we found it. The house. But the bank's dicking us around on the loan. Sarah's stressed. The babies. He trailed off, and I could picture him pacing their cramped apartment. Posters of HGEV Renos peeling from the walls. I hate asking, but you don't have to. I cut in, heart pounding. Send me the details. He hesitated, then emailed the listing for bedrooms. Updated kitchen. A swing set half-built in the yard. Price tag that made my bonus check flinch. But I did it. Wired the down payment anonymously through a trust I'd set up years back for family emergencies, a loophole from my divorce attorney days, back when I thought I'd need it for Mom's hip surgery. No note, no fanfare, just the money vanishing into the ether like my place at their table. Watching the closing docs online a month later felt surreal. Brian posted pics on Instagram. New beginnings. Grateful beyond words. Blessed family first. Hashtags that stab like dull knives. I liked it from my work account. A ghost thumbs up. Jamie found out that night, scrolling his feed while I chopped onions for chili. You did what? Not angry. Just disbelieving. Kevin, that's 20 grand. For a brother who won't even acknowledge you at Christmas. He's family, I said, voice steady as I lied to myself. And those kids deserve stability. Jamie pulled me into a hug, his chin on my shoulder, but I felt the fracture lines forming. You're too good for this shit, he murmured. Maybe. But goodness doesn't fill the empty chair at Easter. Life rolled on in its uneven rhythm. The twins arrived in a blur of gender reveal blues and pinks. Owen and Lila. Chubby-cheeked, miracles Brian FaceTimed me about once, before the signal cut out mid-coup. I sent gifts, a monogram blanket, alphabet blocks card from Indiana Walnut. Silence in return. Meanwhile, Jamie and I dove deeper, proposing on a rainy afternoon in Eagle Creek Park. Me on one knee in the mud, him laughing through tears as he said yes. Till the bigots drop us, We toasted with craft IPAs at our favorite spot, the Green Door, where the bartender comped shots for engaged couples. But the secret festered. By 2024, Brian's house was flipping status, gutted kitchen gleaming with quartz counters, a man cave for Colts games. He started a blog, Hoosier Home Hustle, monetizing the Reno with sponsored posts for power tools and paint brands. Followers ate it up, the all-American dad, bootstraps and blessings. I lurked anonymously, liking from throwaways, a digital voyeur to the life I funded. Mom commented religiously, "Proud of you, son. This is what family looks like." Each word a fresh bruise. The first crack came at Lila's first birthday. I'd mailed a cake topper, little wooden letters spelling her name, but Brian's thank you text was perfunctory. "Cool. Man. Busy week." Then, radio silence again. Jamie noticed my mood cratering, the way I'd stare at the fridge like it held answers. "Call him out," he urged one night, tangled in sheets after lovemaking that left us both raw. "Or let it go. But this half-life's killing you." I chose half measures. Donated to a queer shelter in Brian's name. Anonymous again, hoping karma would loop the tape. Work exploded too. A national campaign for marriage equality tie-ins. Billboard from Chicago to Nashville screaming, "Love wins." Indiana. Pride that year was electric. Floats thumping Lizzo. Me and Jamie on the barriers. His hand in mine as confetti rained. For a night, the world's weight lifted. Then the bomb dropped. October 2025. A crisp fall evening with leaves like blood on the sidewalks. I got an email from the trust administrator. Routine audit, transfer to B. Harlan confirmed received. Recipient inquiry. Who is K? Harlan. Harlan was her last name. The one Dad insisted we keep after the split. Brian must have dug, tracing the funds back through layers of legalese. My phone buzzed an hour later. "We need to talk." Now. The house. Heart in my throat. I drove out to Carmel. The suburbs swallowing me whole. Manicured lawns. Minivans gleaming under street lamps. Brian's place loomed like a monument to my folly. Porch light on. Sarah's minivan in the drive. He met me at the door. Face thunderous. Owen and Lila's toys scattered like landmines in the foyer. "Get in here before the neighbors see," he hissed, glancing over his shoulder. The living room smelled of fresh paint and baby powder. Family photos lining the mantel. None of me, of course. Sarah hovered in the kitchen, arms crossed, her eyes daggers. Brian paced, fists clenched. 25 grand. Kev. For this? And you ghost me? What the hell? I sank into the couch, the leather creaking under me. It wasn't a loan. It was a gift. For you. For them. My voice cracked, the words I'd rehearsed in the car evaporating. He laughed, bitter and sharp. A gift from the fairy goduncle who doesn't show for birthdays? Mom and Dad think you're off in San Fran screwing around, forgetting us. And now this? Like pity money. The room spun. Pity? After years of silence. Of me biting my tongue at every dig. Every exclusion? Brian. I came out, and you all shut the door. But you're my brother. Those kids. I couldn't let you lose this. Tears stung, hot and unwelcome. Sarah snorted from the doorway. Convenient timing. Right when we're drowning. You think this buys you a seat at the table? Jamie texted then, "Where are you?" Chili's cold up, but I silenced it. The world narrowing to Brian's flushed face. It wasn't about buying anything, I whispered. It was love. The only way I knew how. He stopped pacing, deflating like a punctured tire. For a beat, the old Brian flickered, the kid who'd shared comics under the covers, who'd punched a bully for calling me four eyes in third grade. Why didn't you say, we could've? I don't know. Figure it out. His voice broke, and Sarah's hand found his shoulder, a united front cracking at the edges. Because saying it meant admitting how much it hurt, I admitted standing. Every dinner I wasn't at. Every holiday card with your family smiles, and my name scratched off. The dam burst then, words flooding. The nights I'd cried into Jamie's chest. The therapy bills for abandonment issues I never asked for. The way Dad's sermons on choosing righteousness echoed in my nightmares. Brian listened, eyes widening, then sinking to the rug amid the toys. Sarah softened first, surprisingly. We didn't know. Brian said you were busy. Moving on. Busy. Moving on. Code for gay and gone. I nodded. Numb. I am. Got engaged last year. Jamie's family. They're coming for Thanksgiving. Real turkey. No footnotes. Brian's head snapped up. Engaged? Shit. Kev. Why didn't you stopped asking? The truth hung heavy. A fog we couldn't wave away. He pulled me into a hug then. Awkward and bone-crushing. The kind that smells of sawdust and regret. I'm sorry. For all of it. The silence. The posts. God. The house. It's ours because of you. We talked till midnight. Sarah brewing decaf. The twins stirring upstairs. Stories spilled. His fears of failing as a dad. Her postpartum fog. The mortgage stress that nearly broke them. I shared Jamie's quirks. Our plans for a quiet ceremony at the park. Laughter crept in. Tentative. Like dawn after a storm. Bring him next weekend, Brian said finally, clapping my shoulder. Pork tenderloin. Mom and Dad. We'll handle them. I left at 2 a.m., the highway blurring through tears, calling Jamie from a gas station lot. It's messy, but it's starting. He hooped, voice thick. That's my guy. Now get home. Chili reheats fine. The weeks blurred into tentative bridges. Brian texted daily, memes about Reno fails. Ultrasound throwbacks with captions like Uncle Kev's VIPs. I reciprocated with park pics. Jamie photobombing with goofy faces. The first family dinner invite arrived via Evite, Harlan Harvest hoedown, and I stared at it for an hour, pulse racing. Jamie squeezed my hand. We go, or we don't. Your call. We went. Mom's dining room. Same oak table scarred from decades of spills. Now laden with casserole and cornbread. Dad at the head. Grayer. Quieter. Brian grinned from the side. Sarah passing green beans like peace offerings. The air crackled. Awkward small talk about weather. The Colts' dismal season. Then Mom, plate in hand, met my eyes. Kevin. Jamie. Welcome, for words. But they cracked the ice. Dad grunted something about family sticking, his way of saying sorry without the S word. Brian raised a glass mid-meal. To the man who built more than walls, who built us a home. Eyes on me, unblinking. The table fell silent, then erupted in clinks. Sarah whooping, even Dad tapping his fork. It wasn't perfect. Whispers lingered. Bible study invites with undercurrents. Questions about lifestyle choices that Jamie fielded with polite deflections. But Owen crawled into my lap, sticky fingers in my hair, and Lila babbled Unca Kev, and for the first time, I belonged. Not tolerated, not pitted, belonged. Jamie and I married that spring, under dogwoods in full bloom. Brian best man in a suit that itched him pink. Vows exchanged with the Wabash humming nearby. In the mess and the miracles, I choose you. Mom and Dad came, stiff in the back row, but they clapped. Brian's toast killed. To my brother, the secret keeper, the heart fixer. Never again without you. The dream home? It's theirs. Fully paid now. With a guest room painted blue for us. Family dinners are weekly, chaotic with spills and stories. No one exiled. Betrayals heal crooked, but they heal. And in the quiet nights, Jamie's head on my chest, I whisper thanks to the universe for the pain that forged this, for love that outlasts labels. In America, where the heartland hides its hurts, we found our way home. The afterglow of that first dinner faded faster than I expected, leaving behind the kind of fragile peace that feels like walking a tightrope over broken glass. Brian and I fell into a rhythm, texts turning to calls to drop-ins where I'd swing by Carmel with craft beers and stories from the city. "Tell me about this Jamie guy," he'd say, cracking a Sun King while Sarah wrangled the twins into baths. I'd oblige, painting pictures of our lazy Sundays at the farmer's market, haggling over heirloom tomatoes like old pros. Brian laughed easy, but his eyes held questions he never voiced. "How do you do it? Love in a world that sometimes loves back half-hearted?" Work kept me anchored. The firm buzzing with a new client, a national chain pushing inclusive workplaces, irony thick as the Midwest humidity. I led the pitch, Jamie cheering from the sidelines with homemade lasagna after long days. "You're changing the game, babe," he'd say, kissing my temple. But home, our bungalow with its wildflower beds and wind chimes, started feeling like a bubble, one prick away from popping. The prick came mid-November, 2 weeks before Thanksgiving Redux. Brian called during my commute, voice edged with that old panic. "Kev, emergency. Can you come now? It's Dad. Might get dropped." Tires screeching as I U-turned on I-465. "Dad, heart attack." Mild, but enough to land him in Methodist with tubes snaking like accusations. Mom hovered in the waiting room, rosary beads clicking like a metronome of worry. Brian paced, Sarah home with the kids. He was yelling at the TV about the election. Mom said, voice small. Politics got him riled. Clutched his chest mid-rant. Dad stabilized by evening, grumbling about hospital jello and woke doctors. I sat by his bed. The beep's a sterile soundtrack to our standoff. "Kevin," he rasped, eyes roomy but sharp. "Heard you footed the bill for Brian's place." Foolish. Throwing money at problems. Not thanks. Not apology, just judgment, wrapped in concern. "Foolish letting families sink," I replied, holding his gaze. He shifted, wincing. "Family's rules. Son. Eu bråking fast." The room chilled. Monitors whining. Mom bustled in then, diffusing with chicken soup from the cafeteria. But the words lingered. A fresh scar. Brian pulled me aside in the hall. Fluorescent lights buzzing overhead. "Ignore him. He's scared." We hugged, quick and fierce. But as I drove home, rain slicking the windshield, doubt crept in. Was I foolish, pouring love into a bottomless well, only to get echoes? Jamie waited with cocoa and a fire in the grate, listening as I unloaded. "Your dad's a product of his time," he said gently. Rust Belt pride, Fox News filter. Doesn't make it right, but explains. We made love that night slow and deliberate, reclaiming the space between hurt and hope. But sleep evaded me. Dreams tangled with family portraits where my face blurred out. Thanksgiving dawn gray, the air crisp with wood smoke from neighborhood chimneys. We arrived early to Brian's, pie in hand. Jamie's famous apple cranberry, the kind that draws ooze even from skeptics. The house smelled divine, turkey roasting, stuffing bubbling, kids shrieking in the yard. Mom fussed over place settings. Dad ensconced in the recliner with a beer. Oxygen tank his new sidekick. "Boys," he nodded as we entered. The word of concession. Dinner unfolded in fits, grace led by Mom, heavy on gratitude and light on brimstone. Conversation skirted politics, landing on safer shores. The twins' first words, Dada for Brian. Mine for everything else. Sarah's new job at the library. Jamie charmed, asking Dad about his army days in Nam, drawing out tales of monsoons and mateship that softened the old man's edges. Good man. You got there, Dad muttered later, clapping Jamie's shoulder, a benediction, however grudging. Then Brian stood, glass raised, to Kevin. For more than a house, for showing us what family's really made of. The table quieted. Eyes on me. Mom teared up, whispering, "We've been wrong. Honey, praying's not enough." Dad cleared his throat. Water under the bridge. Just come around more. It wasn't poetry, but it was progress. Raw and real as Hoosier clay. We lingered late. Board games devolving into charades where Jamie mimed a lumberjack so badly Brian snorted beer. Driving home, street lights haloed in fog. I squeezed Jamie's knee. "Think we survive?" He grinned. "Babe, we thrived." Winter settled in, blanketing Indianapolis in snow that muffled the world's sharp corners. Brian and I started a tradition, monthly brother builds where I'd help with house tweaks, shelving in the nursery, a fire pit in the back. Hammer in hand, sawdust in our hair. We'd talk real, his imposter syndrome as a dad. My fears of forever being the other Harlan. "You're not," he'd say, nailing trim. "You're the glue." Man, romance bloomed in the margins. Jamie and I stole a weekend in Chicago. Train ride up with mimosas from a thermos. Wandering the magnificent mile hand in hand. No stairs. Just us, dinner at a jazz club. Bodies swaying to saxophone wails. His breath warm on my neck. "This is us," he murmured. Unbreakable. Back home. Wedding plans percolated. Invites with wildflowers. Vows under oaks. I even called Mom for recipe advice. Her pecan pie for the rehearsal. "With pleasure." "Dear," she said. No hesitation. But cracks spiderwebbed. Dad's recovery stalled. A second scare landing him in rehab. Mom leaned on Brian, unloading worries that bled into accusations. If Kevin hadn't strayed, maybe you'd have support. Brian texted me furious. "She's spiraling." Ignore. But ignoring's a luxury when blood calls. The real fracture hit in February. Valentine's shadow long. Brian invited us to a surprise dinner, his way of toasting our engagement. We showed, bouquets in tow, only to find Sarah's sister there, a cousin from Ohio, and unannounced, Dad's pastor, Brother Ellis, with his fire and brimstone smile. The spread was lavish. Steak, wine, non-alcoholic for show. But the vibe curdled fast. Ellis cornered me post-grace. "Heard about your union. Ever consider the eternal cost?" "Son." Jamie stiffened beside me, Fort pausing mid-bite. Brian shot apologies via glances, but the damage seeped. Dad chimed in, emboldened, just looking out. "Families forever, choices aren't." Sarah tried bridging. "Let's talk football." But the evening soured. Excuses made by dessert. Outside, snow flurrying. Jamie unloaded in the car. "That was ambush." "Kevin, your brother's complicit." I defended. Half-hearted. "You didn't know." But doubt gnawed. Had Brian set up? A prayer intervention disguised as celebration? Text flew. "WTF, man? Pastor?" His reply. "Mom's idea." Swear. "Won't happen again." It didn't, but trust frayed. March brought wedding RSVPs. Brian and Sarah, yes. Mom and Dad, maybe. I buried hurt in work. A gala for the Queer Center where Jamie and I slow danced to earth. Wind and fire. Sequins sparkling under chandeliers. "Our world's enough," he said. But was it? April showers unleashed the storm. Brian called panicked. House flooded from a burst pipe. Reno reversed in a night. Insurance fight. "Kev, we're underwater." Echoes of the past. I wired help. 5 grand. No strings. Gratitude poured. You're a saint. But saints get crucified. Then the betrayal landed. Sharp as shrapnel. A mutual friend texted a screenshot. Brian's Facebook rant. Beer fueled at a bar. Family's tough love. My bro thinks money fixes sin. Newsflash, it don't. Real talk, faith over fame. Likes from cousins. Shares from church folks. My name redacted, but unmistakable. Rage boiled. Hot and holy. I drove to Carmel unannounced, pounding the door at midnight. Brian answered bleary-eyed. Sarah peeking from stairs. What the fuck? Brian? Sin? That's me you're slinging. He paled, pulling me inside. It was venting. Stupid. Delete it, but screenshots live forever. Venom viral. We argued low and fierce, his defensiveness cracking to confession. Mom's on me about leading you back. Pressure's killing us. Sarah interjected. He's trying. Kevin. Like you try for us. Trying. The word mocked. I left shaking, calling Jamie from the car. It's over. The bridge burned. He met me at home, holding me as sobs racked. Then we build our own family. The wedding loomed. Mayflowers defiant. I uninvited them all. A mercy killing. Ceremony under tents by the White River. Friends in rainbow ties. Vows sealing us against the tide. In spite of. Because of. Jamie promised. Vows echoed. Rings exchanged, simple bands. Engraved with always. Brian showed. Anyway. Solo in the back. Eyes red. After. He approached. Voice wrecked. I fucked up. Again. But that house. That life. It's yours. We owe you everything. No excuses. Just raw. I nodded. Throat tight. Start with sorry. Mean it. Reconciliation's a marathon, not a sprint. Summer healed slow. Beach days with Jamie's kin. Brian's texts rebuilding brick by brick. Dad called once. Gruff. Missed the wedding. Saw pics. Look happy. Progress. Pixelated. By fall. Dinners resumed. Tentative. Tender. The twins called Jamie Unca J, tumbling into our laps. Secrets surface. Heal. Brian admits the pastor ploy. Mom her fears of losing us both. Dad, he hugs now. Brief but bone deep. The dream home stands. A testament, not to money, but mercy. In the heartland's hard soil. Love roots deep. Twisted but tenacious. We're Harlan's. Flawed. Fierce. Family. Autumn's palette painted our world in golds and crimsons. But beneath the beauty, the Harlan fractures ran deep. Like veins of quartz and limestone, pretty from afar, deadly up close. Brian and I navigated the post-betrayal minefield with the caution of bomb techs. Each conversation a defuse or detonation. He deleted the post, apologized in voice memos that played like confessions at 2 a.m. I was drunk, mad at Mom's guilt trips. Not you. Never you. Kev. I'd listen on commutes. Traffic a blur. Weighing forgiveness against the fresh scar. Jamie advocated grace. His teacher's patience a balm. People evolve. Or they don't. But you decide the cost. We hiked Clifty Falls that October. Waterfalls thundering as we talked it out, his hands steady in mine. Leaves crunching underfoot. If Brian's in, great. If not, we've got roots here. Our bungalow, with its herb garden bursting sage and thyme, felt fortress solid. Mom reached out next. A voicemail tentative as first frost. Kevin. Honey, can we talk? About the wedding. We should have been there. I called back from the porch swing. Jamie inside prepping stew. Her voice trembled. I was scared. Of change. Of losing my boys too. Differences. Code for deviance. Once. Now, a doorway cracked. "Come for coffee," I said. Just us. The meet-up was at a neutral spot, a Panera in Fisher's. Muffins steaming between us. Mom fussed with her napkin. Rings glinting, wedding band worn thin. Cross necklace polished bright. "Your ceremony looked lovely." Jamie smiled. "Like yours. Small steps." She admitted the exclusions. Thought prayer would fix it. Like Dad's temper. Tears welled. Hers and mine. "It hurt us more," I said. The silence. By Stu's Inn that night. Jamie and I dissected. "She's trying," he said. Spoon clinking. "Like Brian." I nodded. But wariness lingered. A shadow at the feast. Dad's thaw came sideways. Via Brian. "Help me with the truck," the text read. I showed at their old garage. Tools in tow, the '92 Ford Ranger. Rust-eaten, but sentimental. Dad emerged from the house. Cane tapping. Mom trailing with thermoses. Engines coughing, he grunted, popping the hood. We worked side by side. Grease blackening knuckles. Radio crooning Merle Haggard. Talk skirted deep waters. Weather. The Mills ghost town status. Colts playoff ghosts. Then, mid-wrench turn, saw your ad campaign. The one with the couples. "Nice work." Gruff, but genuine. I paused, rag in hand. "Thanks." "Push for it." He nodded, wiping brow. "World's changing. Faster than me. Maybe, not absolution, but acknowledgement, a gear shifting." Brian clapped me on the back as we packed up. "Told you." Slow burn. That night, family group chat pinged alive. Dad sharing a meme about old trucks. Mom recipes. Brian dad jokes. Jamie added emojis. Pulling us in. Winter holidays loomed. A gauntlet. Brian hosted, his house decked in lights. Twins in elf hats. We arrived arms full, gifts wrapped crisp. Jamie's gingerbread men crisp-edged. The tree towered. Ornaments from our childhood. Paper chains I made in kindergarten. Brian's lopsided star. Dinner was potluck chaos. Mom's green bean casserole, post-divorce upgrade, almondine. Sarah's mac and cheese. My charcuterie board fancy from work perks. Grace faltered. Dad fumbling words about unity in diversity, a phrase swiped from my billboards. No doubt. Laughter bridged gaps. Owen smearing pie on Jamie's tie. Lila singing Jingle Bells off key. Post-feast. Brian pull me to the porch. Breath fogging. "This us, it's real now." No takebacks. Snow, it dusted his hair. Vulnerability raw. "Love you, bro." For the house. The heart. Inside. Jamie and Sarah bonded over books, her library halls. His lesson plans. Mom cornered me by the tree. "Proud of you." Kevin. Both my boys. Building lives. Dad raised a toast later to Harlan's. Stubborn as hell. Clinks echoed. Warm as hearth fire. New Year's brought resolutions and revelations. Jamie and I hosted, fire pit crackling, friends mingling with family in uneasy orbit. Brian confessed over spiked cider. The blog's success masked debts. His hustle a front for anxiety. Felt like a fraud next to your shine. I shared my own shadows. Therapy for rejection wounds. Nights doubting our love's longevity. "We're all frauds," I said. Faking till we make it. Spring 2026 unfurled gentle. Weddings echo lingering. Brian asked to co-plan a vow renewal for us. A surprise. "Make it official," he grinned. We did. Lakeside at Geist. Friends and kin under string lights. Dad walked me down the aisle a pedal path. Mom teary. Twins scattering rosebuds. Vows renewed. Through betrayals and breakthroughs. I choose us. But life tests. Summer scorched. Dad's health dipped. Pneumonia. Hospital again. We rallied. Brian handling logistics. Me advocacy with docs. Jamie kid wrangling. Mom prayers evolved to presents. Waiting room vigils bonded us. Cards. Coffee. Confessions. Regret the years lost, Dad whispered one night. Hand in mine. Should have fought for you. Tears tracked his cheeks. Fight now, I said. He did home by July. Cane ditch by August. Brian's house hit milestone. Blog to book deal. Hoosier Heartwood. Royalties easing burdens. Dedication to Kevin, builder of dreams. Breaker of walls. I teared up reading. Jamie hugging from behind. Your legacy. Fall brought harvest. Literal and figurative. Family dinners weekly. Rotating homes. Our bungalows grill-outs. Brian's fire pit tales. Mom's formal spreads. Conflicts arose. Dad's offhand back in my day slips. Sarah's fatigue-fueled snarks, but we aired them. Voices raised and reconciled. No more secrets. Misunderstandings met head-on. One night, post-dinner cleanup, Brian and I washed dishes. Suds flying. Remember the down payment? He asked. I nodded. Thought it was pity then. Now, salvation. Laughter bubbled. Pity's for fools. This was faith. Jamie's hand found mine across the table later. Eyes sparkling. We made it. In America's patchwork heart. Where love bends but doesn't break. We had. Yet depth demands darkness. October gale stripped trees bare, mirroring the call that shattered. Mom's cancer diagnosis. Stage 3. Pancreas. World tilted. Family converged. Brian's house command center. Sarah organizing meals. Dad's stoic shell cracking. I took leave. Jamie bedside vigils. Reading her favorite romances aloud. Nora Roberts. Escapes from pain. Mom fought fierce. Chemo cycles a gauntlet. Wish I'd embraced sooner, she confessed one dawn. For dripping. Your love, it's purer than mine. I held her hand. Plenty of time, but time's thief. Holidays hollowed. Thanksgiving foreside. Christmas carols muted. Brian broke first. Porch sobs. Can't lose her. Kev. I held him. Echoes of my own griefs. We won't. Not yet. Winter gripped. Mom fading. Final dinner. Her bed tray. Family circled. Stories flowed. Childhood escapades. Prodigal returns. My boy, she smiled. Weak but whole. Dad kissed her brow. Our circle. She slipped February Eve. Peaceful. Us all there. Funeral packed. Church progressive now. Hymns hopeful. Eulogy mine. She taught love's language. Late but loud. Brian's arm around me. Twins quiet. Grief's alchemy. Gold from ash. We leaned harder. Weekly check-ins. Therapy group for siblings. Dad opening to Jamie about war ghosts. Spring bloomed resilient. Memorial garden at Brian's. Mom's roses. Plaque lavandure. By summer. Healing hummed. Brian's book launched. Signing in Carmel bookstore. Me front row. To the brother who paid forward. Hugs. Flashes. Family whole. Jamie surprise. Weekend getaway. Brown County cabin. Trails whispered forgiveness. Stars are canopy. Our story's epic, he said. Firelit. Betrayals to belonging. In the heartland's hush. We thrive, flawed. Fierce. Forever family. Grief's wake is a strange tide. Pulling wreckage to shore while reshaping the beach. Mom's absence echoed in empty chairs. Her recipes dog-eared on counters. But it forged us tighter. Harlan's tempered in loss's fire. Brian threw himself into fatherhood. Coaching Owen's t-ball. Lila's dance recitals. Me sideline cheering. Jamie packing snacks. Dad softened further. Inviting us for man talks over checkers. his bigotry's bark stripped to whimper. Your way works for you, he'd say, a concession vast as the Wabash. Jamie's school year wrapped triumphant, his class's pride float winning blue at the parade, rainbows waving defiant. We celebrated at the slippery noodle, blues wailing as we two-stepped, sweat slick and alive. To us, he toasted, bourbon neat. Home, tangled in sheets. I traced his scars, appendectomy from childhood, heart from our battles. Endless chapters, I murmured. He smiled. Sleepy, best co-author. Brian's book, Tour Hit Snags. Midwest market skeptical of queer-adjacent tales. Irony biting. I leveraged firm contacts, pitching panels on family resilience. Your story sells hard, I told him. He nailed it. Crowds swelling from Zionsville to Bloomington. Post-event beers. Couldn't without you. Kev. The house. The hustle. Your blueprint. Summer swelled with reunions. Dad's 70th. Backyard bash at Brian's. Grill smoke thick. Aunts gossiping. Cousins toasting. Speeches slurred sentimental. Brian's dad. You taught grit, mine and grace. Late blooming. Dad teared. Hugging awkward, proud. Son. Both ways. Progress. Plated. But undercurrents stirred. Sarah confided over coffee. Brian's hustle high, masking burnout. Nights pacing with what-ifs. He idolizes you. Thinks you're unbreakable. I share my cracks, therapy marathons. Panic attacks post-mom. We're all patch quilts, I said. She nodded. Ally solid. Fall's cusp brought crisis. Dad's fall. Hip shattered on garage steps. Ear dash. Surgery blur. Brian and I tag teaming. Jamie kid duty. Rehab was hell. Dad's surly. Morphine dreams, dredging regrets. Should have walked you down proper, he rasped one night. Monitors beeping. Not just pretend. I squeezed his hand. You did. Every step since. Recovery rallied us. Carpools to PT. Meals rotated. Dad bunking with Brian temporarily. Awkward cohabiting bread breakthroughs. Movie nights with Capper Classics. Dad admitting 80s homophobia roots in his own father's scorn. Cycle ends here, he vowed. Jamie facilitated. Gentle prompts drawing depths. Thanksgiving anchored. Our bungalow host. Table groaning. Turkey, Jamie's brine magic. Side symphony. Toasts tender, Brian's to mom's table. Spirit full, Dad's to Sakan's chances. Laughter liberated Owen's pie fight. Lila's carols off pitch. Post feast, Brian and I porch sat. Stars pricking velvet sky. This, its legacy, he said. Not the house. Us. Winter whispered warnings. Brian's doc visit, stress ulcers. Workaholic toll. Slow down, I urged, echoing Jamie's pleas to me. He did. Delegating blog to ghostwriters. Family first. We started Harlan hikes, monthly treks at Eagle Creek. Packs heavy. Hearts light. Trails tested. Dad's limp. Twins wines. But views rewarded. Valleys verdant. Bonds burnished. Spring 2027 bloomed bold. Jamie's promotion, head of department. Equity focus. We marked with dinner at St. Elmo's. Shrimp cocktail flaming. City lights winking. Your influence, he credited. Vows whispered. Partners in progress. Brian's bombshell. Baby 3 brewing. Surprise spark. Crowded nest, he joked. Sarah glowing. Nursery paint party. Me roller wielding. Dad sanding. Jamie alphabet mural. Laughter layered over loss. New life layering love. Yet conflict crested unbidden. Church picnic invite. Dad's old crew. Inclusive now, per Brother Ellis's retirement. We demurred. But Brian pushed. Bridget. For Dad. Tension simmered. I relented. Jamie wary. Picnic proved powder keg. Lawns lush, potato salad heaped. But whispers slithered. That's the brother. The one. Ellis approached. Reformed facade cracking. Glad you're here. Redemption's real. Venom veiled. Dad overheard. Intervening fierce. My son. End of. Standoff silent skeptics. But exodus hasty, my nausea rising. Jamie's grip iron. Home. Purge. No more half in, I declared. Brian apologized profusely. Thought it'd heal. Hurt instead. Fracture mended via mediation. Family summit at Neutral Cafe. Airs cleared. Boundaries, Sarah advocated. Love with lines. Summer healed swifter. Dad's full recovery. Cane-free walks. Volunteering at the center, Jamie consulted. Giving back, he grinned. Brian's book sequel greenlit. Roots and Renos. Queer family arcs woven. Dedication. To Kevin and Jamie, architects of us. Fall harvest hummed harmony. Dinners devolved delights. Costume chaos for twins. Dad's carving prowess. Jamie's pies peerless. One eve, post-feast, Brian gifted envelopes, deed shares, house equity slice. Yours too. Blood and bone. Tears pricked. Family's not transaction, I said. But thanks. Jamie's Yuletide surprise. Ancestry trip. Harlan roots traced to Kentucky hills. Queer cousins unearthed via DNA. Our trees vast, he beamed. Laptop aglow. Holidays hybrid. Brian's lights extravaganza. Our quiet solstice. Dad's carol sing-alongs. 2028 dawn decisive. Brian's third, Elias. Born screaming March. Colic King. Sleep-deprived shifts. We rotated me bottles. Jamie lullabies. Dad doted. Grandpa's boy. Climax crested corporate. Firm's merger threat. Queer campaigns axed. I fought petitions. Protests. Pride pulsing. Brian rallied. Blog blasts. Family funds. Your voice, he urged. Board buckled. Job saved. Inclusivity intact. Betrayal's ghost revisited. Anonymous email. Old church screed. Slurs slung. Dad traced it. Coward cousin. Excommunicated now. We stand, he declared. Unity unyielding. By year's end. Dream home expanded. Addition for elders. Dad's sweet. Dinners daily near. Chaos cherished. One twilight. Porch swinging with Jamie. Brian's lights twinkling distant. I reflected. Exclusions etched. But erasure's impossible. Secrets surfaced. Misunderstandings mulled to wisdom. Humanistic horizon. No fairy tale flawless. But flawed fierce. Love's labor. Betrayals bartered for belonging. Conflicts carved to compassion. In America's ambivalent embrace. We Harlan Heldens, gay, straight, gray, woven whole. Epilogue whispers. Elias's first steps toward me. Unca, Dad's not approving. Jamie's kiss eternal. Brian's wink, paid in full. And so, home, never perfect, always ours.